Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and it's an exciting one today because I've got a lot of things to share with you that are good news for the coming months in crypto that can change your life. So stick around as I'm going to cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and a bunch of other charts that are going to paint a good picture for the altcoins. So right away, we're going to cover Bitcoin and get straight into it. Bitcoin painted a beautiful move towards the upside in the past week, and we're sitting at about $117,000. I thought we were going to shoot to about 113 and possibly roll over here as we grab liquidity, but that didn't happen. And I like to paint out scenarios, so keep an open mind. A lot of people just want the answer towards what we're going to do, but I'm going to paint out scenarios because trading is all about probabilities. So if we manage to stay above 113,000 and we trade sideways or paint a bull flag towards the downside, then we're going to continue most likely towards the upside to 130, pull back, and mainly beyond. The thing you want to keep in mind is from here on out, as long as we don't cross below 113,000, we're going to get pullbacks like we did in the past, which aren't huge. They're tiny pullbacks. I'll give you an example. Over here, we had about a 20% pullback, completely normal, and then we continued towards the upside, and we have these little dips along the way for like 5%. So this is what you can expect, little dips along the way that move us higher and higher as people buy the dips and institutions bid on these dips to push us a lot higher. So that's what we're looking on at Bitcoin, and it's important to note the higher we get towards here on the price of Bitcoin, the more aggressive people are going to bid on alts because people tend to move down the risk curve to extract the value from the alts. So we're moving towards that time where we're going to see people bidding on alts. So that's what I'm going to be paying my attention to. I'm not really interested in Bitcoin gains here because I do think they are capped. You know, we could say we're heading between the ranges of 170,000 to 140K on Bitcoin. Though that's primarily what I'm looking at over here. Now that's Bitcoin for you. Now I want to take a look at Ethereum because Ethereum is the signal for altcoins. If Ethereum is bullish, then altcoins are most likely going to be bullish, as you're going to see here on my charts. So we've got Ethereum pushing up, finally breaking this range we have been in for the past 60 days. And we're sitting at about 3K. Next move up towards 3,500 is what I would expect. And I do think we're going to get that continuation so long as we don't fall back below this range. If we see a pullback to about 2,800, sure, that's fine. Retest the upper bound of this range and then move towards the upside to about 3,500 right there. So that's what I'm looking at for Ethereum. And Ethereum's all-time high isn't that far away. We're about $5,000. And once we get to 3.5, it just gets closer and closer. The all-time high is back here. And I do think Ethereum's going to pull some wild numbers to, the range of 9 to 10K. And if that happens, once again, that's going to signal to the market we're ready to bid on altcoins and go max risk, max long on altcoins. So this is the time to position yourself in the altcoins you want or you like to get the most value out of them. How high Ethereum goes this cycle, I'm not really sure, but we'll be tracking it. I do think 9 to 10K is kind of what's on people's mind. We could go even higher than that if things get really bullish and institutions start bidding on ETH aggressively. We're going to take it month by month to see how price moves. Now, I've had a target around December to January, possibly November, as to when the cycle will end. But because we've started this move up earlier, I might shift my timeline depending on the price action I'm seeing. So in my mind, it's still between November and January. But if we get to, let's say, 6K in the month of September, then I might start changing my timeline as to when the cycle top comes. Because I don't want to be caught off guard with my strict deadlines when the market doesn't really care about them. Instead, I'm going to look at price and time and see how we're moving along these next few months. Now, the next coin I want to take a look at is Litecoin, because if you haven't been here for many cycles, you wouldn't know that Litecoin tends to move very aggressively in a short amount of time. I mean, I'm going to take a look here at the last time Litecoin moved in the last cycle. I think Litecoin was about $30 or $40, and it moved all the way up to $400 by the end of the cycle. Now that's at 10x gains, and you can get that in altcoins, but the risk is much higher. Litecoin is time tested. It's been there for many years, and this gives you an easy access to potentially a 10 to 14x. So we're going to take a look at Litecoin because I do expect it to break $400. They called Litecoin the silver to Bitcoin's gold. So if that narrative continues, I do expect Litecoin to break all-time highs and head towards psychological $1,000 level, and that's going to be a massive gain towards the upside. That's about another 9x on Litecoin, and not many people are talking about this, but the chart does look really good as we've been ranging for the past couple of years. It's just been going sideways. We've had a little bit of gains here and there, but nothing too major. But the gains do tend to come towards the end of the cycle, and a lot of people are sleeping on Litecoin because it's been boring. But that's where the money's made. When things are boring, you put your money in and forget about it, and then wake up in a couple of months and you'll see Litecoin sitting at 1,000. And with Bitcoin's price going higher and higher, and it's legitimizing Bitcoin to institutions, the next thing they'll want to go towards is something like Litecoin, which is considered the silver. So the narrative is definitely still there, and that's what I'm interested in bidding in as well in this cycle. I haven't gotten some, but this is the time where I would want to, because you can start to see things finally breaking out. We had this huge dip from March to April, and we're starting to break out of these downtrends and slowly put in positive structure. So this is looking really good on Litecoin. Now, as a whole, I want to give you an overview of the market because the market has done something incredible. And I was talking about this in my last video, my last Bitcoin video, is I was looking for a decisive breakdown of USDT dominance, and we finally got it. And this is good because it signals that we are getting closer and closer to alt season as we fall down to possibly 2%. We still have a lot of work to do on this chart, but this is a really good sign. It shows us that the next phase of the cycle is beginning. Every time we do drop, we tend to get more runs on altcoins as people are more comfortable deploying USDT and stablecoins into altcoins. So this is a really good thing to see. You can see we had a bear flag here. We broke down decisively. We even had this decisive breakdown here. And you can see the trend is definitely towards the downside as we break towards lower levels since the beginning of April. So that's really good to see, and I do expect this trend to continue towards the downside. Now, as a whole, if we take a look at this other chart, which I painted for you guys, it's more bullish than I had anticipated. I had two scenarios here where we had this red one where we would dip into this altcoin discount, and we got it a little bit earlier. These lines aren't depicting time, they're depicting price action. So these lines said we're going to get towards this altcoin discount, and we did. We got a dip here. I expected us to dip one more time at the top of it, somewhere right there. We didn't get that. We actually got the more bullish version, the green version, and you guys can see this is what I was expecting if the market was more bullish than I expected, which it looks like it actually is. So we're getting that green scenario. We finally broke out of this downtrend, and now we're setting up for these levels on this other chart, targeting 320 billion, 445 billion, and finally, when things get really crazy, is we target the break of this 450 billion. So that's where true alt season begins, because last time, if we take a look at this other chart over here, you can see what happened the last time we break all-time highs right there. All-time highs were 74 billion. We broke it and absolutely rocketed to the moon to about 450 billion. And it set the new floor at the previous break. Yeah, it did. So you can see how we set the floor right there. Previous break became support. And now we're going to begin the next ascent towards that range of 1 trillion to possibly 2.5 trillion, somewhere around there. So this is going to be a very exciting time for crypto if this is your first time. And the key here is to push your winners. We don't want to push them so much that we round trip our bags, but we want to push them enough to make sure we take advantage of this whole cycle. And this applies to pretty much all the crypto assets. You can see we've got the meme discount area here that I talked about earlier in my channel, and we got that dip, and we got the breakout today. So this is really good. Once we get the retest somewhere down here, you can rebid the memes. Right now we are on the overbought side a little bit, not on the longer term. On the long term, I do think we're going to be breaking this all-time high right there. So there's different timelines, but if you want to buy more memes and you don't have exposure, then wait for the pullback and get the discount. Of course, it's not going to go down here. I don't think that would be unlikely and not so healthy structurally. So we're going to be looking for a little bit of a pullback somewhere down at the 55 to maybe $60 billion range, and then we're going to trend towards the upside with these memes. AI is kind of doing the same thing. You guys can see a little bit of a breakout there, so that's a good sign. Not as strong as the memes, but it's getting there. And then if we take a look at DeFi, another sector I'm interested in, you guys can see we had the deep value zone, which we got there. It was extremely scary because we had the war FUD, but these are the value zones that are shown on the charts, and they tend to respect structure. And now we've got the break of this last high in May that we've had for the past 60 days. So this is really good to see for Ethereum DeFi, and I think DeFi coins are going to perform extremely well. If we go down here to the DeFi sector, you guys can see these are the coins I'm interested in. CRB has pumped a lot. Something I'm very interested in over here. Hype as well, $46. One of the top performers this cycle. Maker as well. We've got Ondo, Sui. All these coins I do expect to do very, very well. So keep an eye on Ethereum DeFi, especially as money starts rolling into Ethereum and we break all-time highs. These decentralized applications are going to get bid on. So if you want some more fundamental projects to look at, it's definitely the Ethereum DeFi space. I think these three sectors are something to focus on: Ethereum DeFi, memes, and AI. I think with these three stacks, we're going to make a lot of money going into the end of the year. So once again, I'm looking for November, January, December to be the top of the cycle. Things are moving faster, so I'll be updating you guys as we move on towards the deeper end of the cycle and things get crazy. The key point here I want to highlight is don't get overexcited. Don't buy into the new narratives, because I guarantee you as we get higher in price, people are going to come up with reasons why we should go even higher when this cycle has already been very generous. So don't get caught up in the greed. Make sure to take profits, because the next cycle that comes around when the bear market rolls in, you want those profits so you can reinvest them and compound those gains. So if you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.